Hello, this is a shortish demonstration of how we can go about setting up territories in the prescription data in Scriptmap and how you can actually use that if you're a territory manager to actually filter your territory and work out what's actually going on and plan. So let's actually go into the website to start with. So here we are, Scriptmap, scriptmap.co.uk. I put my password and user details in, so let's go in. So as per normal, you get a list of the molecules down here. You will also, if you scroll right down to the bottom, get some pink lines, which are the product groups, which if you're not familiar with those, you set them up through edit groups. But there is actually a video about that on YouTube already if you wanted to watch that. But today I'm going to play around with areas. The reason that we've had to use the word areas when we actually mean territories is that we do already have functionality in Scriptmap for territories, but they are based on postcodes. So some companies still insist on using surgery postcodes to define their territories. However, the majority are gradually moving or have moved towards using the CCGs to say territory 1 is made up of the following 40 or 20 or 10 CCGs. So what we're trying to do is to work with that, and that is an advantage for the company involved, because if the NHS actually changes the structure of a CCG, the structure of the territory is changed at the same time, but you just have to be aware of that. So the way we actually set up the areas, or your manager or administrator would do this, is to go into edit areas. If that person wants to use this functionality, it's not charged for, it's a free edition. So you just click on edit areas, and that person would need to let us know they want the functionality, and we'd add that for them. You then get to add territories pretty much as the way I've done here, territory 1, 10, 2, 3, 4. In that way you put names on it, so if somebody leaves or joins you have to add that. You also can include the names of the territories. The editing is done through a little box like that. So if I wanted to change that to flower, then I just hit the enter key on my keyboard and that becomes flower. Put it back to flowers because he's famous. I'll put it back like that. And I can do the same with the description. The CCGs are edited through the word, the phrase, the button CCG here. So if I wanted to do the Scottish CCGs, I do it at that level next to Scotland. I want to have a look at the English ones because there's far more of them today. So let's say I go in there. So here we are now. They're actually appearing. Let's enlarge that so you can see it a bit better. I've actually categorized all the CCGs in this, in effect, virtual company. So you can see down on the right-hand side that I've given them each a name. I can swap somebody over from T2 using that drop-down. Some of them I've categorized as 000, which means I don't actually know, so I can put him back to none, and then I could go back in and change that back over again in time. It's fairly easy to do, and it's just a case of going through territory by territory, reorganizing the CCGs themselves, which produce the vast majority of the description data, but also things like hospices and trusts, which produce a little bit of data, but it might be relevant for your company's territories. So once you've done that, you can close that down. That will probably take a couple of hours to actually go through them all. Close that down. You then have a count of the number of CCGs in each territory here, and that's all in place. So again, you can close that down, and then you can go down to the areas to run the areas. So you go down actually to the pink lines. So let's say I'm looking for budesonide powder for inhalation, and I want to have a look at the territories, the areas we've called them, and see who's doing worse and who's doing best. So here we go, it's loading it now. So that gives me a breakdown by person. If I click the column heading a couple of times, it puts Nicholas Winton at the top there and Caroline Herschel at the bottom for some reason. And that allows me to do that. Just at the moment, it only allows 1 month at a time, which means that if we whiz back up to the top, it's October to October. If you include 2 or 3 months, at the moment we've got a glitch, but by the time you watch this video it might be fixed, but who knows. So that's that part of it. So you can actually get a breakdown of the salespeople. Let's do that again quickly, just so I can show you one more thing in there. So if I open that up and run it again quickly, and just looking at Rosalind Franklin, her name is actually highlighted in blue. That means that clicking on that will take me down a level to the detailed data below that, and will actually show me the surgeries and the towns that she's working in. And additionally, as part of her territory, you can actually click on the column headings to re-rank the data. So I've done it once to put the minimum at the top, do it once more, and I'll put the maximum at the top. So there we are, we can see Library House Surgery in Chorley is maximum for that particular group of products on her territory. Some of the surgeries are highlighted in green, which means those are dispensing doctors. So if Caroline had a deal going with that, Rosalind had a deal going with dispensing doctors, she could go and talk to these people. So that's one element of it. The next element, if I close these two down, is to go back up to the top and to look at the filter, the area filter. So let's say I want to look at Territory 2. Then filtering on that will put Nicholas Winton's name at the top of the page. If I want to take that off, let's swap him over. So I've turned that off now. Let's do Territory 5. So we're going to do Mohammed's territory. So again, I can whiz down to the bottom here and I can say budesonide powder for inhalation on Mohammed's territory. I can do a map CCG or I can do data CCG. I'm going to do data CCG this time to actually get into the CCGs that Mohammed looks after. And again, I can click on the cost column a couple of times to get the maximum at the top. And I've actually got hyperlinks on 2 bits of data. I've got a hyperlink on the CCG territory, say CCG code, and on the name of the CCG. If you click on the CCG code, 09G here, it drills in on the top level to the surgeries again. And again, clicking it a couple of times will put the maximum at the top, so you can see, Mohammed could see what was going on. If I try the other one, it does pretty much the same, but it does it by brand. So on this occasion, well, there's just one brand here, but if there were lots of brands in that particular group of products, it would show them all one after the other. So here we've got the 200, 400 and so on. So we could actually say, oh, let's just have a look at the 100, 200 dose, and then click on the column heading a couple of times and we've got the maximum at the top. So you can play around with that quite a bit. You've also got the download button. Clicking that allows you to actually copy stuff to the clipboard and paste it directly into Excel. If I do that, let's have a look at that. So just paste that and there it is. So let's get rid of that. One other thing before I finish this is if I close these down and I say, okay, let's continue to look at Mohammed's territory, Territory 5, but this time I will use the second of the drop downs and use trend totals. And this allows me to look at the trends on his territory over the last 2 years. So that might be useful for Mohammed to actually check how things are progressing over time. It draws a graph and it shows it's not particularly optimistic, but it also has the numbers here so that in time when he manages to reverse the trend on his territory and turn things around a bit, it will show up very firmly in the latest set of figures as they become available. You can also download this image as a JPEG from there, and again up near the top you've got the download buttons to download the data. So that's an overview. Hope it's useful. Speak to you soon.